let's get back to the AI landscape and the arms race. And where does Apple stack up? In fact, our next guest thinks it's a loser in the competition. Olivier Blanchard is joining us, research director at Futurum Group. Is Apple missing something big time? What are we missing here?
A little bit. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for having me. And live from Cannes. I wish I could show you the view, but I can't today, so it's a little dark. Yeah, I think Apple is a bit of a miss on AI. So to kind of frame things for your viewers, the big movement, the big direction in the AI ecosystem in the last year has been a shift from cloud services of AI, which is kind of like what we've been seeing with OpenAI and a lot of these large language models and large mixed model services that we've seen, to the edge and then to devices. So essentially, the AI ecosystem is expanding downward from the cloud, closer and closer to the divide. So it's kind of like a cloud to pocket direction. And so silicon manufacturers, the Qualcomms, Intels, AMDs, MediaTeks of the world, have been focusing on this shift. And essentially, they're trying to capture as much market share as they can in the cloud, at the edge, and in devices. And Apple has somehow missed that boat a little bit, which is kind of on brand for Apple. They tend to innovate very well, but they innovate late in the cycle. They sort of see where things are going before they actually go all in. And so what's happening is one of Apple's main competitors, sometimes partners, depending on the product, Qualcomm, which essentially sort of owns the premium and flagship Android market in terms of chips against Apple and the iPhone, has also entered the space in the PC space, the PC segment, with their own version of a PC chipset. Which is ARM-based, just like Apple's M3 and now M4 chips. So it has some comparable thermal performance and performance per watt advantages, but it's also equipped with a very powerful NPU, a neural processing unit, that it's capable of offloading a lot of normal processes and add battery life, but also process a lot of powerful AI workloads directly on the device. And that's something that Apple currently isn't able to do. And it's such an important shift that Microsoft has been spending the last couple of years investing in this and partnering with Qualcomm to bring a new brand of AI PC to the market. And you've probably seen the launch in the last few weeks, called Copilot Plus. And every single PC OEM, right? So Acer, Asus, Dell, HP, Lenovo, Microsoft Surface, and Samsung have all jumped in and released their own versions of these Copilot Plus PCs that right now work exclusively on Qualcomm Snapdragon X PC platform as a direct competitor to Apple. And so not only does it actually defeat or outperform Apple performance on MacBook Air and some MacBook Pros, it also has touchscreens, which the MacBooks don't have, and it has this on-device AI capability that Apple doesn't have. And same thing with phones. And so what we're seeing is Qualcomm essentially outpacing Apple in the mobile space and the PC space by bringing these very powerful AI capabilities directly on device. And Apple's announcements, as well received as they were at WDC. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's so much to take in. I mean, the basic is going from cloud service AI to on-device AI, and looking at that on your PC and maybe on your mobile phone, and you feel that Apple really just sort of is behind in a big way, that Qualcomm really beat them to the punch. That being said, Apple, just this week, there was more talk about working with Meta. We see ideas about them teaming up, OpenAI. What's going on here? When we think about the different companies, which companies seem to be the leader if you were going to list them on what's getting right? And is this, maybe Apple's getting it right, but late?
Yeah, so what's happening with Apple is because they haven't developed that internal capability of putting a lot of these AI processes directly on the device, they're relying on their AI partners in the cloud to basically sort of like they're outsourcing their AI to a great extent to these companies. And so these are cloud services companies. So OpenAI obviously is a big name. Everybody knows ChatGPT. And then looking for other top tier, like tier one AR partners of cloud is the right move for Apple. The problem is that these are mostly cloud services providers, and so a lot of the advantages of having the AI directly on the device is just not present in the Apple ecosystem currently. They're just going to be relying on only cloud services or mostly cloud services, which increases lag between interactions for AI interactions with AI assistants.
Yeah.
It requires the user to have an internet connection and to be able to connect to the cloud. And there are some security
Right.
concerns as well, because of course all of the data that's being processed by these AI services goes off to the cloud, and it's not the Apple cloud; it's another cloud. And so for Apple
Yeah.
users, that might also be a problem
Okay.
because you don't know where the data is going. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, since you're coming to us from Cannes, the Cannes Lion Awards, this is a very prestigious event that occurs each year, and it's all about creativity. I'm sure they're talking a lot about AI in this conference. How could they not? Because they talk about it even in the Campbell's Soup conference call. So what are the takeaways from this conference since you are there and can give us some inside scoop quickly?
Well, the takeaway is AI is the big topic everywhere. It's basically sucking all the oxygen out of every room. Everyone is trying to figure out how to do it well, how to do it cheaply, how to do it fast, and how to do it ethically. And one of the big questions is whether AI replaces human creativity or enhances it. And obviously, my view is that it should enhance it, not replace it. If AI does all the creative stuff, it's all going to look the same. We don't want that. So we want to find the right balance between humans and machines, or AI in this case. So that's basically the big takeaway. But even at
Yeah,
this thing,
yeah.
Qualcomm was here, right? Don McGuire, the CMO, like unveiled this big front of shirts unveiling of the Snapdragon brand with Manchester United, for instance. And so you start to see how all of like the Snapdragon brand is coalescing around PC and Copilot Plus PCs, these on device AI in mobile, and soon in automotive, and the
Yeah.
Snapdragon brand essentially becoming more of a consumer brand, a little bit like Apple. And I think there's some intentionality there. So I think we might be talking a lot more about this in next year. And that's one of the reasons I've been so bullish on them. Yeah, don't sleep on
Yeah.
Qualcomm. They're not as sexy as
Yeah, you've
Apple,
been
but
talking
they're
about
they're
Qualcomm for a
making more
long
interesting
time.
moves. Yeah,
Yeah, you've
yeah,
been
I know.
talking
I
about
sound like a
Qualcomm for
broken
a
record,
long
but there's a
time. I
reason.
would say,
Yeah.
I remember when you were sitting here and you were mentioning Qualcomm at that time. That was probably about a year ago that you were looking at that. And the goal in marketing and branding is to make these things almost a household name and to use these things as verbs, right? Are you tweeting? Are you taking a Kleenex instead of a tissue? As you start to really have those things assimilate into your life, and then can't live without them, right? And that's sort of the brand building marketing part of it. It's great to see you,
Exactly.
Olivier Blanchard, Futurum Group, live from Cannes, from the Cannes Lion Awards there, and that's a very prestigious event focusing on creativity, which today he just summed up a lot of AI talk. And by the way, Susie Orman said, will AI replace folks or enhance their roles? Susie Orman, in our market overtime, actually predicted unemployment going up to over 30% in the next decade or so because of AI.